Something just isn't sitting right with me about this quote-unquote missing F-35 fighter jet. Now yesterday there are two big stories in the news about fighter jets, and you may have missed the one because all of our attention was on this missing F-35B over South Carolina. While our super advanced, very expensive $80 million fighter jet, and you have to realize the F-35B Lightning II is supposed to be the best of the best. It is supposed to be the United States' pinnacle of power when it comes to fighter jets, and that same day that it crashed, we were getting news that China had sent over 100 of its fighter jets to Taiwan. And we all know how the game is set up. We all know how the game works. We all know that Taiwan is the tipping point between an all-out war between the United States and China. Because once China invades Taiwan, then we do have to get involved. And if we get involved, then Russia gets involved. And then if Russia gets involved, our allies get involved. It will essentially be World War III. Now, if you're China and you really want this country, you really want Taiwan, because you believe that it belongs to China, the only thing stopping you from taking Taiwan is your adversary that's protecting this country, and your adversary is the United States. So you send over 100 fighter jets to flex your power, to show your militaristic strength. And you hear that same day that your adversary's super advanced, one of its best fighter jets crashes in its own country. How does that look? Now, I don't believe in coincidences. I'm not a coincidence theorist, and we are getting a lot of coincidence stories in the news lately, like when it comes to the big C-19, and it's spreading at a rapid rate around election time. That's another coincidence. Or just take a look at Hawaii, how they really want these people to sell their lands in Maui so they can rebuild Maui into this clean energy state. They have to build it up from the ground, but they couldn't because these people were not selling their lands. Lo and behold, a big fire breaks out, this big quote-unquote natural fire, and displaces these people. It burns down all their homes. Another coincidence. Then we have another coincidence where our best of the best jet crashes the same day China is flexing its air strength over one of our allies. So we have been having a lot of coincidences lately. We need to come out with a coincidence fact check website, just like Snopes has its fact check website when it comes to conspiracy theories. We need to start fact checking their coincidences. Now, there's a lot of mystery still about this F-35B fighter jet. Why did the pilot eject? He may have been having technical difficulties, but why did he put it on autopilot mode? Meaning, as soon as he ejects, this jet is going to fly for hundreds of miles. That is not usual activity for somebody in the military that's flying these jets, because this jet is now a zombie jet and it could crash anywhere. It could crash into somebody's home. It can crash into a school. It could crash into a bridge. So the biggest question next is, can't the military just target this jet's location? Can't they spot its coordinates from where they are? Well, coincidence have it, the transponder on this jet broke. So now there's this massive search where the military even has to get the public involved. Now, coincidence again, this jet that is flying for hundreds of miles that can land anywhere, it can land in any crowded section, happens to land and crash in this random open field with nobody around. The military says they know it's this jet because they seen the debris field. They gathered parts from this field. But let me ask you, have you seen any photos or videos of this debris field? Have you seen any photos or videos of this jet's parts in the news? I have been searching left and right and I have not seen anything yet. The only thing I've seen was a helicopter flying over this area saying they found the jet, which was a wooded area around a lot of trees. But yet I thought where this jet crashed was an open field. I'm looking at the supposed area where this jet had crashed and I don't see any evidence of a crashed jet. And if a jet did crash in this area, wouldn't we see fire? Wouldn't we see smoke? I'm just not buying the story. And we were told that any little fire, any little ignition due to today's climate change will set off a massive wildfire. It really wasn't that long from when they found the jet to when it was reported missing. It was less than a day. I'm sure there's some evidence of an explosion. I'm just not seeing it here. So if this jet did not crash, and you cannot trust what you see or hear on the TV, you cannot trust the media, then where is this jet? Was this jet given to a country in Europe that begins with the letter U? Was it actually given to China? Because you have to understand what we see on the TV and the news, who we think is our enemy, they're all working hand in hand against the people. These wars are always funded by one person. They're always funded by one family. Both sides are funded by the same people. These wars that we see are not like ancient times. The king will not get on horseback and fight with the people. These elite that start these wars are safe. They're hidden. It's the population that suffers from these wars. There is always an enemy. It is manufactured to be that way. Us in society who are suffering and fighting one another because we're told to by the news and media, in the background of it all, these countries who are supposed to be enemies are laughing behind our backs as they gift one another. If you go deeper into the rabbit hole, you will find these countries are all in each other's pockets and they are all funded by a few elite families. So it may sound crazy that we are giving our enemy one of our best jets. It doesn't seem so crazy when you realize who is controlling everything. We in society, we're not a part of the play. We're not even the puppets. We are the roaches that are in the theater. We are just something that shouldn't be there, but are there anyway. So as time goes by, there's going to be more and more questions about this jet. Things are not going to add up, but by then, everything is going to be swept under the rug. And if you ask any questions outside the narrative that is already set, you are going to look like a crazy conspiracy theorist. Was this jet gifted to another country? I don't know. Is this all just a distraction? Of course it is. It's always a distraction. But I am not buying what they're selling. I do not buy the fact that this super advanced $100 million jet has no way to track it. That its transponder happened to break the same time this pilot put it on autopilot mode as he was injecting. Nothing of this story sounds believable whatsoever. But in any case, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.